We will have a new champion in the Women's T20 World Cup come Sunday. In a topsy-turvy match, New Zealand fought their way to make sure that they were in the final for the first time since 2010. Time to dissect the match here on Cricbuzz. New Zealand won the toss and elected to bat. Opening partnership of 48 from Bates Plymouth didn't set the world on fire. It seemed like a tricky wicket to score runs. When New Zealand wanted to accelerate, Dottin came on with the ball and she picked up 4 for 22, with New Zealand losing 6 for 31. New Zealand in the end posted 128 for 9, which was probably just slightly below par. For West Indies, they needed to get off to a good start, but they didn't get that. Eden Carson bowled exceptionally well. And they struggled, Stefani Taylor, Hayley Matthews, to really get singles, even twos, even a boundary, because New Zealand were bowling exceptionally well. However, Dottin, while she's still there, gives any team some hope. And when she hit those 3 sixes off Leah Tahuhu's over, you all of a sudden thought game on. However, Amelia Kerr was able to remove Dottin in the next over. And from there, West Indies still had a little bit too much to do, with New Zealand securing the victory by 8 runs. Nerves sometimes get the better of you. Both sides looked a little bit shaky, and why wouldn't they be? There's a lot at stake. Semi-finals, you want to be in the final. You have to play some good cricket on a pitch that really does challenge you. Again, fielding is an issue. New Zealand put down a number of chances, put down Dottin a couple of times. Thankfully, she didn't hurt them to the extent that she could have. One thing that I've been super impressed is the fact that whilst New Zealand and their performances in the build-up to this World Cup have not been great, they have invested a lot of time and money and energy into the younger players. And guess what? They're performing now on the world stage. Izzy Gaze, Eden Carson, Georgia Plymouth, they're all stepping up, which is taking the load off a Susie Bates, Sophie Devine and Leah Tahuhu. And it was great to see them perform again today in the semi-final. Eden Carson, and maybe I'll just give it for the player of the match performance. I love just the raw nature of it. Tears this time, still the giggle, so proud, so happy, a lot of time and effort. You can see the dedication that has gone on behind the scenes, because that comes out in raw emotion in these special moments. But she did bowl exceptionally well. 3 for 29 off her 4 overs, and to be able to pick up that first wicket, Kiana Joseph, with the perfect kind of off-spinning delivery. I like her repeatable action. She puts some revs on the ball, and the pitches are obviously helping her out. So a wonderful performance by her to ensure that New Zealand got the victory. You'd have to say the one that clinched it for New Zealand would be Amelia Kerr getting out Dottin in the 17th over. As I mentioned before, Dottin had scored a lot of runs against Leah Tahuhu in the previous over, and the equation was dropped down considerably. And you saw the West Indian dugout. There was certainly a huge belief whilst Dottin was there, they were going to get across the line. Amelia Kerr had that last over to bowl, and she needed to take Dottin, and in the end she did. Shout out to Dottin, the fact that she had 4 for 22 of her 4 overs, and then 33 off 22 with those 3 sixes. Amazing effort, and so good to see her back in international cricket. But the impact player for me has to go to Izzy Gaze. That 20 runs off 14 at that back end, I think it was the 17th or the 18th and 19th over, 9 runs were scored each, so 18 runs, really crucial, because I feel like if New Zealand scored a 115, it doesn't have as big an impact on the start for West Indies. But that one, getting close to that 130 mark, meant that they had to have a good start. They didn't have it, and you could see they dropped a little bit. So Izzy Gaze was my impact player. We're finally here. the T20 Women's World Cup final between South Africa and New Zealand. As I mentioned, we're going to see a new winner, and that speaks volumes about the investment from a global perspective of the game. Whilst as an Australian, I love seeing Australia win, it is important that we see other people lift the trophy, and here's a wonderful opportunity. There's some great storylines for both sides. New Zealand, Susie Bates, Sophie Devine, Leah Tahuhu, probably their last T20 World Cup, maybe their last ICC event, I don't know. Could they lift the trophy for the first time? And for South Africa, Laura Woolvart and her team, they've experienced semi-finals in 2020, then 23, they got into the final. Can they go one better? We'll find out who the winner is come Sunday. Make sure you tune in.